Hello and welcome to episode 22 of the Gangrene Against the World podcast. I'm Allan Simon. The New York Jets are 0-6. They lose to the Broncos 13-11 in London. The Broncos tried to give the Jets this game. The Jets had the ball just 20 or so yards away from field goal range with 2 minutes left in the game, but it all boils down to one simple thing. Justin Fields is not a functioning quarterback in the NFL. And that seems very clear now. This offense, over the last 20 quarters, have had 17 quarters where they have not shown up at all. Complete no-shows. The Jets today had negative 10 net passing yards against the Broncos. The Broncos have a really good pass rush. The Broncos have a good defense. The Broncos are well coached. But no team has put up less yards in a game this season than the New York Jets. They put up the fewest amount of first half yards in all of the NFL in the first half. They go into a 2-minute drill in which they do a fake punt on 4th and 1 and give themselves a little bit more life to try and get points. But because they cannot trust Justin Fields to throw the ball, they continue to run the ball when they should be passing. And it made you think, okay, they're going to come back out and bench Justin Fields, throw in Tyrod Taylor, give this team a chance to win. And they didn't do that. And we instead see Justin Fields hold on to the ball for a lifetime on every drop back. He has wide open guys, and the reason is because Justin Fields is really just what a good college quarterback is. When a guy is open, he will then throw the ball there, and he has the arm strength to do that. And in college, you can do that because defenders are slower, and so there's time where a guy is open, you can see it, you can throw it, and still make the play. In the NFL, that does not fly, and we saw it on that last drive. He is Garrett Wilson wide open on the sideline. Wilson is in motion. It's probably where the ball was supposed to go because he's your best player on the team, and because Fields doesn't see it all the way yet, he holds on, and then he throws behind Garrett Wilson. Wilson actually ends up not being in for that 4th down play because I think he got hurt again on that play. Justin Fields' only good week this entire year so far was against the Steelers, and he looked very good against the Steelers. But I have never been more sure that that is only because that is the team he played with all of last year. So he saw that defense every single day. He saw it in practice. He saw it on the sideline. So he knew what he was seeing, and he had comfort in what decisions he had to make because of that. And since then, he has been a non-functioning quarterback. You can't have that many sacks. You can't have a loss of 55 yards on sacks. You can't be sacked on 4th and 8 with the game on the line at the end of the game, where if you don't convert, the game is over. You got to at least throw the ball up somewhere. But he cannot function, and the loss is planted firmly on his shoulders and on Aaron Glenn's shoulders. And Aaron Glenn is Mr. Accountability, and yet when the entire rest of the team is trying, the defense and special teams can do 11 points. The defense plays really well for the first time all season. Multiple stops. They can't get a stop on that last drive where the Broncos kick a field goal, but that is a big ask to just keep a team out of field goal range when you've been playing really well the entire game. And Aaron Glenn owed it to that team to give the offense a chance to be successful and put in Tyrod Taylor. But because I fear that Aaron Glenn is clueless and does not understand what he needs to do, he instead just runs out Justin Fields because he's afraid to make a decision like that on the fly when that's what a good leader needs to do. And right now at 0-6, with every game being a unique and terrible way to lose, Aaron Glenn's seat is extremely warm. And probably the thing that could save his tenure here is to play Tyrod Taylor, and they can go out and win a couple games because they win today with Tyrod Taylor. There's no way you can play worse than Justin Fields. Unless your name is Zach Wilson, there's not much worse quarterback play you've seen in the last 2 decades in football than what we saw today with Justin Fields. Breece Hall today, 0 targets in the passing game. That is inexcusable. And it's hard to know if it's a game plan thing or just that Justin Fields can't function, but you're telling me there's not a single time when they're under tons of pressure and he's holding on to the ball for 3-4 seconds in the pocket, he can't dump it off to Breece Hall? He has no idea what he's seeing out there. He lost this game for the Jets, and with that, Aaron Glenn lost this game too. And the line, knew it'd be coming up against a lot of pressure. This is the best pass rushing team in football in the Broncos with two of the best in the league, including the league leader in sacks and Benito. And they just did the same thing over and over again. First down, run the ball. Second down, run the ball. Third and long, no hope he gets sacked or makes a bad play. And it's funny, he has no interceptions this year, right? He's the only quarterback with a certain amount of attempts or games played without an interception. And it's because he throws 0 contested balls because he's only throwing it to guys who are already open or he's taking sacks. He's already had big fumbles this year. But if you need to give this season any meaning besides a completely lost year, which it is really, but what I mean by completely lost is not only are you a terrible team and probably the worst team in football right now, and you will likely end the season one of the worst teams in football. But if you then have to fire your head coach after one season because it is that terrible of a year, that's not just a bad year. That is a year that didn't exist. The New York Jets have not existed so far in the NFL this season. And it seems like it's getting worse because if I'm that defense and I finally put in a good effort, you've got to be miserable on that long flight home from London. If I'm Austin McNamara and Nick Folk saying, hey, I'm doing everything I can out here. McNamara continues to be the best punter in football. Nick Folk, I don't think he has enough leg to try that 60-plus yarder at the end of regulation. But you know what? I think Nick Folk has a better chance of hitting a 62-yarder or whatever it is than Justin Fields picking up 8 yards on 4th down. So that's another decision that I really don't agree with. And listen, if it comes up short, it is what it is. But you know Justin Fields has nothing out there. You know Justin Fields is not capable of winning this football game. You need to try something else. And Aaron Glenn over and over continues to not do that. Also, we talk about accountability, and somehow Isaiah Williams is back out there returning kicks. He puts the ball on the ground. Now, he was down, but he puts the ball on the ground again. That guy should not see the field. You know, Kene Nwangwu shows us what a real returner looks like. He pretty much gives the Jets 3 points with his great kick return, and the Jets get a safety. Michael Clemens is not an embarrassment today. Jermaine Johnson's presence was so missed, and he has a great day today, and man, they needed him. You know, the secondary held up. They didn't give Bo Nix much of anything to play today, but because there is incompetence at quarterback and what could be a head coach who has no idea what he's doing whatsoever, this could end up being one of the worst seasons in the history of Jets football, and that's a lot of bad seasons. The Jets have had a lot of terrible years, but this is shaping up to be one of the worst because it's embarrassing in different ways. They find different ways to lose. There's a team in Denver that's begging you to beat them, and you can't do it. It is a full-blown dumpster fire that has gasoline thrown on it every other day. And now the Jets are going to host the Carolina Panthers team, and I'm recording this right after the game, so I don't know how the Panthers will have been coming into this. But they're going to play a really bad team at home. And if things go south, like it did against Dallas, and like the offense looked again today, there's no shortage of what Jets fans are going to do. The boos are going to happen early and often. The heat to fire Aaron Glenn is going to be huge, and it's going to be constant. And then they're going to play the Bengals, who are a lost team right now. We'll see how they are with Joe Flacco. And then they have a bye. And there's just no hope in sight. Now, you play Tyrod Taylor next week and you win a game. It just gives you a week of rest, really. But playing Justin Fields again would be professional malpractice. It would show your team that you're not about accountability. You really showed that today when you were too afraid to make a change. I was fine with bringing in Justin Fields to take a flyer on a guy and see if he can beat Geno Smith or Sam Darnold or Baker Mayfield or just some version of a rerun quarterback who finds a little life on a new team. But you pay Tyrod Taylor as one of the most expensive backups in football for just this reason. If Justin Fields can't give you a chance to win, you got to bring in someone who can. I'm not saying play Brady Cook like some of the idiots on Twitter are saying right now. And maybe towards the end of the year, you play Brady Cook just to see if he's got anything. But there's too much season left and too many guys on this team playing for their careers to not give them a chance to win. So Aaron Glenn, I've got it paused right now. I'll see what he has to say after this game. And no matter what he says, it doesn't matter. It's all been an embarrassment. And overall, the Jets are the worst team in football. And it doesn't mean you always get blown out, but it means you always find a way to lose. And the Jets did just that. Some other stats that show you just how bad today was. Their negative 10 yards in net passing is the worst in team history. So it was officially the worst passing performance in team history, and the worst by any team since the Chargers had negative 19 yards in 1998. So a historically bad performance on offense. The Jets' longest completion was 11 yards today. It's just all really, really terrible football. And if Aaron Glenn says anything worthwhile, I'll pop back in here and I'll say some more. But frankly, I don't care what Aaron Glenn has to say. Show me something. I'm sick of him saying things that you need to show what you mean when you say you're about accountability and bench Justin Fields. Really, for Fields' sake, too, you keep throwing him out here with this little confidence. His career is over. So you need to give that guy a chance. And this isn't a rookie, though. This is his, fifth year? So we're talking about him like a rookie, but the reality is he may not find another place to go and definitely won't be a starting quarterback anywhere if you keep throwing him out here and letting him flounder. There's nothing good that comes from playing Justin Fields anymore for the foreseeable future. And, you look at the 2-minute drill, if you want to call it that, at the end of the half, where Garrett Wilson is screaming at Aaron Glenn on the sideline because they can't get a playoff and they use their timeouts and they don't try a Hail Mary. They don't try anything because they keep running the ball and using up the clock because they don't trust Justin Fields. And now your best player is yelling at your head coach going into the locker room. That is dysfunction at the highest level. The Jets have always been an easy team to laugh at, but on the national stage today, they embarrassed themselves once again. And Aaron Glenn is in a lot of trouble. I think the folks underneath him are going to be looking for a job too if this doesn't work out, even though I think there are some good pieces here. But you finally get a defensive performance that's worth anything, and you spit in the face of your defense by playing Justin Fields that entire game. So, not much more to say. The Jets are 0-6. We'll do a little talk about the Jets-Panthers matchup at MetLife Stadium next week as the Jets try to not go 0-7 to start the season, but a total embarrassment through and through. Aaron Glenn's seat is as hot as it's ever been, and it's only going to get worse. And Justin Fields should have started his last game for the Jets if there's a healthy Tyrod Taylor on this team for the remainder of this season. And at least there's no concern that, hey, maybe Justin Fields the guy. If he plays okay, maybe you bring him back next year. No, that's done. Justin Fields is not a functioning quarterback, and he should not start any more games for this team if you care about the players on this team at all. So, another fun one. At least it's only 107, and now we can watch other football and forget about this Jets team for another week. A complete embarrassment in London by the New York Jets. They lose 13-11 to the Denver Broncos. This has been episode 22 of the Gangrene Against the World podcast. I'm Allan Simon. Thank you for listening.